Are you raging? Are you absolutely raging? I don't blame you. Bad news and good news, right? Bad news and good news. You know what the bad news is. The bad news is that it would appear that Jude Bellingham is in talks, serious talks, advanced talks, close to Real Madrid, signing to Real Madrid or whatever. Very fast developments on that front. I guess if Liverpool end their interest in him and he wasn't interested in Manchester City, then I would have thought that was the obvious option, really. I think we discussed this in a recent video. If I was him and I didn't get my move to Liverpool, if that's where he wanted to go, and it was Man City or Real Madrid, I know where I'd be going. That is for sure. We did mention that, I think, last week. Now, it didn't look like we were going to sign him. All right? There's an understatement. I think most of us accepted that. In my recent videos, I said, I don't think it's going to happen, but leave the door open, guys. You never know, because you never know in football. You never know in football. So until something happens, you always leave the door open. I do, and I tell you something now. Until a player signs on a dotted line, and you see the shirt being held up after that situation, after the medical, after the signing of the contract, until that point with any deal, I always say, well, you never know. Look at that Nabil Fekir, you know what happened to him. Mm-hmm. Now, it's just the way it is, right, with these owners, and that's it. There's no point going on about it forever, which is why, if he does go to Real Madrid, I'm going to be happy, right? Because if he's not coming to us, I don't want him to go to Man City. So if he goes to Real Madrid, fine. Now, that might come back on us one day. Who knows? But for me, I hope it happens and gets confirmed very, very quickly. For the simple reason that it means we don't have to endure a summer of will it, won't it, could it happen? Because from my point of view, with the website, all you guys, I love you guys, right? I especially love my VIP members and channel members and podcast patrons. And the people that are named in the video description below. I love it. I don't know how to do a love thing. There you go. But we'd go on about it all summer. Do you know what I mean? And it drives me mental. And there's nothing worse, right, than when you have a high-profile Liverpool player being linked with a move for a long time. Suarez, Coutinho. And I'm hoping we don't get a situation with Mo Salah over the coming weeks. You never know, that might appear. I'm hoping it doesn't. But it's tedious for me, from my point of view. And it's the same with an incoming player. Not all deals, you know what I mean? But big potential deals, Van Dijk, Alisson and all that, and what potentially would have been Bellingham. Because if that had dragged on all summer, I'd just be like, I'm sick of it. But it drives me mental. And surely the same for you. Even if you're an observer and you just watch videos, podcasts, listen to podcasts, read things online, do whatever, I'm sure it becomes annoying to you as a supporter. You're like, is it going to happen? And you'll be there all the time, hoping and praying. So if it concludes now, if it gets wrapped up now, guys, trust me on this. If we're not going to get him, right, then great, fine, move on. That's it. No point crying over it. I know people have been messaging me, can't wait for your next video, Dunk. I bet you're going to be fucking mental. No, I'm not going to be mental. Because to me, I'm like, closure. Do you know what I mean? So it is bad news, but there are some positives that he wouldn't be at Manchester City, and that's a massive positive for me. And the second positive would be that we don't have to endure it all summer. But until his future is resolved officially, we have to wait and see, okay? Now, the good news is that it does sound like McAllister is edging closer to Liverpool. Now, he's the player over the last couple of weeks that I have said, when asked, he would be what I would consider our primary target. Now, you can have a number of primary targets, but what I mean is the one that we were focusing all our attentions on trying to make happen. So you have deals like, let's not name players, like, some of you might think of Gravenberch or whatever. I can't pronounce his name. I know you don't actually pronounce it like that, don't you? But you know what I mean? Like someone like that is what I would call not a priority. You know what I mean? Now, McAllister, I think Liverpool were trying to focus all their attention on him. And up until the weekend, I would have said that. The only reason I wouldn't have said it today is because I wouldn't know, because of my kid's grandma died at the weekend, so I kind of turned away from football just for the weekend. And today is really the first day I felt like, come on, let's get back at it again. So it does fall in with what everybody's saying, what's been said on the members' website, and hopefully it will happen. Now, we did have a boost, a positive with regards McAllister. On the 27th of April, I don't know how long ago that was, probably about a week ago, is it? I posted on the Cop Talk members website that his agent is on Merseyside today. And I also said concrete source on today's claim, and those of you that know me know I hate using that word source. But it was I needed to let the members know that they could trust me with it. And I followed up with that saying, unverified claims that he met United last night. Not sure I believe that, to be honest. Because I think that the agents, they make out maybe things are good. And maybe he did speak to United, I don't know. And until, it's the same situation with an incoming player. I'm all over the place today. I don't know why. Bellingham wasn't an outgoing player, but feels like he was, okay? What I mean is, with an incoming deal, potential deal, we have to wait and see. We know nothing is done until the fat lady sings, so to speak. Or the fat man. Hey! Come along to a stream on a Saturday night, you hear me singing, chuntering away in the background with the microphone, so I forget it's there sometimes. Good news and bad news, I would say. Good news and bad news. Although, I don't want to, by any means at all say that McAllister's in the bag, but it sounds like Liverpool are putting out all their efforts to sign him, which makes me happy because I've been passing that information on. If that happens, I'll be delighted with that, as will the members and you guys. So, but as for the, I don't know if you can tell. I genuinely don't know if you can tell. But as for the Bellingham situation, I've got my arm up here on the ear, and I don't do that very often. But it's usually when I'm drained, or like when I'm like, because it is awful. We wanted to sign him. It is angry. We should be angry. But there's a part I just feel exhausted because I just think, right, it's like a weight off your shoulders if that happens. You'll probably never understand. I know I talk shit sometimes, guys, but bear with me. I just think, I just don't want to. I didn't want to see him at Man City. That would have been like, I couldn't bear that. We know it could go anywhere. I don't know. Anyway, McAllister might not sign for us. Bellingham might not go to Real Madrid. Who fucking knows? But everything's fallen into place, and I like the sound of that. And if we get McAllister in the bag early on, I think that's, as Brendan Rodgers would say, fantastic. Honestly, I think that would be really good. And that would be a good signing. I'd be delighted with that, to be honest with you. Absolutely, really. Out of all the midfielders, I think, other than Bellingham, the ones that have been linked with us for the longest, he's the one that I would have wanted. So I'm glad that everybody that's supplied information on that one appears to have been correct so far. So we'll have to wait and see. Very interesting, though, that both developments really have come out at the same time. That's interesting. Coincidence, maybe, I don't know. So there we go. I do apologise I feel like I'm apologising in all my videos at the moment. I don't know, but I can't explain to you, as disappointed as I am about Bellingham, there is a part of me that just thinks we won't have to endure that all summer. So let's see what happens on that front. And we have to listen, guys. We can rant and rave about it. We can cry about it. We can FSG out about it as much as we want, but it's not going to change anything. So there's no point getting stressed. I am sick to fucking death of talking about Fenway. Honestly, I really am. And I'm sick to death of talking about journalists and shit. I really, really am. So for me, the McAllister stuff, it's like the old-fashioned, like the old school, like cop talk, like them little whispers and rumours, and it's exciting when things fall into place from my point of view, you know. So for me, I'm buzzing my tits off, you know, because I think, oh, it sounds like that really did happen, you know. So we'll see. And I think, you know, if we get McAllister, I think Liverpool will act fast again on something else. I really do. The Mason Mount one, it will be interesting to see what happens there, because, you know, there was a big push, I think, from, we'll say the media, but obviously the media get stories leaked by the agents and clubs and things like that, unless they're just making it up. And it sounds like, you know, we saw all the Mason Mount linked with all these other clubs all of a sudden, which I thought was suspicious. In my opinion, is the agent trying to put pressure on Chelsea to offer him the deal that he wants. And I think if they offer Mason Mount the deal he wants, then I think he stays there. I don't think he turns Chelsea down, is what I'm saying, if the terms are what he would want. I think he would stay there. If they're not going to give him what he wants, then he goes, doesn't he? That's what I reckon. So I do apologise for the video. I don't know. I just feel a bit all over the place, really. That roller coaster's nice. That's all right. Other than that, it hasn't been a bad day, really. I enjoyed the podcast. We've done a couple of videos. We've got the match tonight, which my watch is on charge, so I'm not actually sure what time it is at the moment. But I've got friends at the stadium that have been messaging me, so I know we're not far off. Okay, it's 7 o'clock here, so 6 in the UK. So I'm going to look forward to that game tonight. The stream at the weekend, I think... stream at the weekend, I think we're going to do after the game. We will be here on Saturday night, though, I expect. And the other things, I mentioned the super thanks earlier, you know, where you can thank underneath the video, and I wondered why I'd missed them. I've got a feeling that they don't display on the app on the mobile device, and you just see the comment, whereas on a web browser it tells you it was a super thanks. I'm currently investigating that shit that some of you probably don't really care about, unless you're one of the people that have used a super thanks, because it's just important I thank people for supporting me. All right. It's been a long day. I was up very early. I'm tired. I'm looking forward to the Liverpool game. I'm going to go and drink this roller cola, sit outside with Remy for a bit, watch the game, and then tomorrow I expect that we'll be back on here. We'll make some videos tomorrow, and hopefully the Cop Talk podcast could be updated as well. That'd be super cool. I'd like to do that. So do give me your, give me your opinions about Bellingham, and, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, we can be as angry as we want, but surely we all didn't really think it was going to happen. I didn't. Still wasn't, like, some things didn't add up and it was a bit confusing and whatnot. I don't know. Things change in football. But deep down inside, I thought this probably isn't going to happen, but you never know. But for me, if he goes to Real Madrid, then fine. It's not Manchester City. And we don't. And listen, guys, you'll thank me for it later. You won't have to endure it all fucking summer. It's one of them ones I just want to just forget. And that's for these owners. I don't know. I can't go through talking about these people again. So on Saturday's stream, I can't do it, because every conversation we have on a stream is the same fucking miserable topics, and that's not your fault or my fault. We can't help the issues surrounding the club. But if you follow my content, you'll have known that I've said to you, in terms of the summer, there's quite a few things hanging over the club. One by one, they will hopefully be resolved. If the Bellingham situation is resolved, brilliant, okay, it's done, we can move on from it. The sporting director, that should be resolved soon, let's hope. It sounds like Liverpool or FSG or whoever are waiting on a decision there on that front. There's an article on coptalk.com and the members' website about that. If it's not him, then obviously he's rejected us, in my opinion, because it sounds like he's first choice. The former Bayer Leverkusen guy, I can't remember his name, Steinton or something, I don't know. And then we're just left with the usual transfer shit, you know, that we have to go through all summer. But I think it could be entertaining, so I don't mind that, as long as it's just when it's dragged out forever, I can't stand. And then the ownership, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if nothing happens. You know, to be honest with you, I think they'll just go by what, you know, if the fans are not ranting and raving and, you know, I mean, if you can fly as many planes over Anfield as you want, but unless you're ploughing one into the main stand into John Henry's head, then it's probably not going to make any difference. I didn't really mean to do that, you know what I mean? But, you know what I'm saying? Right, guys. I'm really pissed off about Bellingham, I've got to be honest with you. But you know what I mean. All right, guys, speak to you in a bit.